like the halfway there point. How are we doing so far? We're doing okay? You guys overwhelmed? A little bit? Some of you? No? Okay. Cool. Let me share my screen really quick and we'll moving. All right, sweet. So last week we talked about the realtor meetings and calls and all of that fun stuff. So this week we're going to talk about follow-up and then also what happens when they start sending leads. You guys know I love a good agenda. So we're going to do a little weekly recap and homework. I'm going to show you some tools that I use, and then I also wanted to go over the business plan that I shared on Facebook, and I'll throw that in the email recap of this meeting too, so you have the actual document saved on your computer. We'll do post-meeting follow-up plan. Again, a little bit of scripting of how to set that expectation with your agents to send the leads, how we can go after those listing agents, and then homework and Q&A. So let's talk about last week. Let's do some wins, what you thought of the homework assignments. Did anyone do open houses? I'm going to stop sharing so I can see all your beautiful faces. What do we got going on? Okay, go for it.
So I pulled up a list of all the realtors for classes I've taught in the past, and awesome. I haven't successfully completed it because it's like 200 names, but I have started just smiling and dialing each of them and saying, hey, we're just updating your address. Can I get your updated information? Hey, by the way, you got anybody you're working with right now that I can help get to the closing table? And starting to get those connections going up again. Because once I have their correct information, I can invite them to my next class again, because obviously they like classes.
Love that.
So I think that is a real win.
Are you getting good response when you call them?
Yeah, I'm getting positive response. I mean, nobody's been like, hey, I have a lead for you, here you go.
Sure.
Because, I don't really expect that, but I'm planting the seeds now to continue to cultivate those relationships over the next 90 days.
Awesome. Good job. There you guys got some wins. Hello? Anyone? Bueller? Nobody had a good week last week?
I had a handful of coffee appointments last week, which I think in itself is a win.
Yeah.
But on 3 of the coffee appointments, all work with other lenders, which is fine and expected. But they all agreed that they would give us a shot, which is huge. And that, of course, sounds like all talk, but in the week of last week, during the coffee appointments, all 3 of them did send me leads.
Yeah, good job. Well, and I will tell you right now, meeters are cheaters. So if they're working with another lender, but they're meeting with you, are they really working with another lender? So
right.
There's definitely some unhappiness or some areas that lender could improve upon. And I would just say too, when agents talk to you guys and say, oh, I'm working with another lender, but here I am having coffee with you, what could your lender do better that maybe they're not doing? And that's going to pick their brain of exactly why they're meeting with you, because there's a gap there where they're not getting something that they want or they need for either themselves or their clients. And it's a great opportunity for you to kind of capitalize on that weakness and get them moving in the right direction. But good job. That's awesome. And have the leads been good?
Me directly or everybody?
You.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they have been good.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Good job, Sarah. Who else has a win? Come on. You guys did nothing last week after all the stuff we've been talking about?
I had a great meeting. I love my open houses. So a lot of them I count as meetings because I spend a lot of time there a lot of times.
I'll count that for sure.
And if you're there for 45 minutes and they're telling you all about their kids and their grandkids and everything, that's kind of like a meeting, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So I was able to set up drinks for the follow, which was for last week. And they actually had us meet them at their office because they've had a lender that the owner of the agency gave them to recommend, and they've all had terrible experiences with them so far. So by the end of drinks, they were like, can you give us a stack of cards? They already sent us a lead. I don't know where it's going, but they're already like, you're our top referring lender right now. So I thought that was good.
That's huge. And how many agents do they have in that office?
It looks like about 10, but they have 2 different offices.
Okay,
So we did meet 2 other agents when we were there. And I'm gonna follow up, maybe pop in the office and say hi this week.
perfect. And I would even say, hey, listen, we're here to help you. Can we come into your office and give a presentation on how to lead generate? Not about
Okay.
mortgages, but just how to do lead generation. And I'll share that with you guys next week of how I do that, because it's a really interactive 15 minutes with like a team setting. And it has a really good response. So nice job. That's awesome. I'm gonna go Dawn and then Beth. Dawn, go for it.
Oh, okay. I ended up having a win. I ended up stopping by on St. Patty's Day into Exit Realty.
Okay.
And first I came in dressed as a leprechaun and I was giving them the chocolate. And they were like, no, we want to give this back to you. We have already 3 lenders. We can't take you. And I said, no, keep it. A week later, I get a call from the office manager. We'd like you to come back. And, one lender ended up leaving and be our in-house lender. So we went on a meeting last week, and we're going to take the desk fee and be with 2 exit offices, which is nice.
That's awesome.
155 acres.
Wow, that's very cool. Congrats. That's huge. Sweet. Beth, go for it.
Yeah. So I guess the moral story is, like, when someone says no, sometimes 3 days later they can say yes.
Yep. When someone says no, it just means not yet. Unless they tell you no in like a
Not
very
yet, right.
profane way, then maybe it's a no. Sweet. That's awesome. Congrats. All right, Beth, go for it.
All right, kind of the same thing. Everyone that I've met with about a week or 2 ago, we're starting to get leads in from them right now.
Cool.
We're in Florida. The market's kind of crazy. Leads are good or will be good leads. I had one of the KW brokers reach out to me this past weekend, and he actually asked if we would be the lender at an Easter egg community hunt they're having this weekend. And it's actually in a community where there's over 4,000 homes. So we're kind of going to play the direct card direct to the market this weekend.
Love that. That's amazing. Good
And
job.
then we also have a coffee networking that I've set up once a month. We're also doing our classes once a month, and then a Zoom once a month. So some of these agents that I haven't been able to get on the phone, I printed off cute like little postcards, I guess you could say, and I'm visiting each office on a rotating cycle once a week, just dropping in with some stuff to offer them. And I had 2 teams ask if we could come in and maybe just do like a mortgage 101 class for their office directly.
Awesome.
They all are smaller boutiques, but hey, we'll take a few agents here or there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love those smaller ones. Smaller brokerages are awesome to go after because if you think about it, they're not like the big KWs or, the exit realties where they have all of this money to put into training. A lot of the brokerages have newer agents that don't know how to train them. And so that's something you can come in and provide value for. So, hey, whether it's a team of 2 or a team of 200, that's a huge win because now you're taking 1 hour out of your day to go have a meeting, but you're seeing 2 people at once. So you're killing 2 birds with 1 stone.
Exactly, and these little boutiques, they don't get the kind of love because all the other reps are basically hitting these high producers. And there's these little guys over here that are high producers that I had no idea the numbers that they were actually converting.
Yep. And I think too, guys, you know how we qualify our agents as 8 buy-sides? You can do the same with a team. I consider my teams 1 account. So as long as my 1 account, whether there's 2 or 200, are meeting that 8 buy-sides a year, that's a qualified agent for me. Does that make sense?
That's what we do too. We'll
Awesome.
take everybody on the team and we add up their number and we make it 1 total.
Yep. And you can count that as one of your Focus 40 agents. It's just an account instead. So that's awesome. We cannot wait to hear about how that goes this weekend, and you're gonna crush it. You're a rock star. So.
Oh, don't worry, I got my Easter bunny costume all ready to go.
I feel like you guys are the most spirited business development people. We've got a leprechaun, an Easter bunny. Can't wait to see what you guys do for 4th of July. I'm sure you're gonna like light off fireworks in a real estate office or something ridiculous, but I love it. I love the enthusiasm. You guys are crushing it. I'm so proud of you. I feel like a proud mom, business development mom. let's talk a little bit, and I know we're spending a lot of time on homework right now, but we had a lot going on last week, so I really want to hear about this. How are your list of what makes you different going? Let's hear from some new voices on what you're doing, what your loan partner may have helped you construct. Is anyone struggling with this? Come on. Krista, go for it.
So I feel like one of the things that makes our lending team better and stand out is that we actually have a whole team of people. So for instance, when the realtor would send me a lead, then I would pass that lead into our inside sales agents, and then they go and they'll contact the client and then start the application information. And then that'll get passed down to the loan partners, which we have two, and then Rosie, who's like just closes everything. So that way no leads are being, falling through the cracks, and, everything is just tight. And throughout this whole process, the realtor will be, they'll be told what's going on every step of the way. I put that was one of our big things.
Yeah, that's a huge asset. And, some agents will give you pushback on that. Like they'll say, oh, I don't want to have multiple people working on my file. And I always say, listen, it's like building a car. Everyone on our team has a specific part that they're really, really good at. Just like, you wouldn't go to your regular doctor for, a surgery. There's a specialized person. That's how our team is. And every single person on our team is trained to be the best at their part to make sure that that whole car runs by the time we're done. So I think having a team is an amazing asset to agents. Well, Jake in Omaha, what makes your team unique?
My team is very unique because, well, we're quite literally family in some certain circumstances. Michael is the son of Lynette, and Michael and I are childhood buddies. Sorry, it was a long weekend in Colorado Springs. I've lost my voice entirely almost. Other than that, yeah, we're all in office. Our transaction coordinator is here. Michael takes in apps. Lynette's doing face-to-face interaction. I'm with the realtors. A lot of moving parts, but we're all here in town. And so our communication is unmatched, unparalleled. Some of the tools that we actually have to offer are products for clients nobody else can offer, like zero, no score loans. Nobody in town does that. We can do that. And, we're local. We've all been born and raised here. We know the area, our expertise in the field. Our loan officer was a realtor for 15 years, so we know both sides of this transaction. Huge advantage, huge competitive advantage, and that's what makes us different.
I love that. And I think, your loan partner being a real estate agent is a huge asset, because that's something I sell to agents that I work with. One of my loan partners used to be an agent as well. And I say, listen, our loan partner used to be an agent. He knows the struggles that you guys go through. And he had a negative lending experience a time or two. And so he makes it part of his thing is to make sure that our agents are taken care of. So if you do have a loan partner that used to be an agent, that's always a good plus for sure. All right, one more. Anything surprising that you guys offer? Yeah,
Okay, so we have, when I met with the realtor, what makes our team unique is that, yes, we do have everything in-house as far as our underwritings, our LP, our processors. So that's a big win for us. As it's like a one-stop shop. So that's something that's very important that I told the realtor, when I spoke to them. Also is that I actually approached my LO and asked him, what does North Point Bank, as a bank, what do we do for clients that makes us above the rest? So something that I didn't know, that a kind of like fun fact, was that we do $5 million. We can do a loan up to $5 million. Now, I'm not saying that's the average Joe, but there are clients that are coming and they have investor money, and they want to buy, in Five Star Island in Miami, so we do have that clientele. Actually, we do have an NFL person that we're working with right now, someone in the NFL. So that's pretty cool. So knowing that we have that, and I didn't know that, It's just knowledge. And then we also have, our LOs have, my LO, we have an app. So in the app, it shows like, so I can share this with the realtors. And in the app, it has like our Facebook, our phone, ask us for questions. Someone's always on the app answering and stuff like that. So I think that having that power in their hands really quick makes us more accessible to them, and then just boosts us up a little bit more, I think.
Love that. That's awesome.
Thank
How many
you.
of you, just by show of hands, actually had a conversation with your LOs?
What, like today or?
No,
in
just
general?
about your list.
Oh,
Great. If you have not, please do so. Because I think it's really important, just like Ella was saying, like, you could learn things that you don't even know that your company does just by having that conversation and asking that pointed question that says, hey, what makes us different? So, of course, I didn't want to be a hypocrite and make you guys do it without doing my own. So I made one. Like back a little bit. So I made this on Canva. It probably needs to be compliant, but I just made this for you guys so you could see kind of what makes us different. I focus a lot on what we can do for the agents. And so I should put down at the bottom, that last one at the top, the personal liaison to grow your business. That's you as a BDR. So that's how I sell myself is, listen, my job is to work on as your teammate to help you as your agent grow your business. Because if you're doing more business, then I'm doing more business too, and we all win. So personalized business planning, that's something we do, and I'm gonna skip back and we'll go over the business plan that I posted in Facebook just so I can clear up any questions on that. Open house support, so this could be a myriad of different things, whether it's you create a list support or a list reports page for them. If you have Top of Mind as one of your marketing platforms, there's a similar tool where you can make property pages. You could sit open houses with the agent. You could hold broker opens. So that's kind of an all-encompassing one. Specialized digital marketing options. I put that on there so it doesn't limit us, but we have HomeBot in-house, so we can add our agents to HomeBot. If you aren't aware of what that is, ask your loan officer if they have that, because that is something that agents have asked me about time and time again. Also flyers, we have email campaigns, that's all run through our Top of Mind program. If you're at a larger company, you probably have some sort of marketing platform or marketing department, talk to them. There's so many different tools that you can utilize. We have Spanish-speaking loan officers, obviously that's important here in Phoenix, and I know Florida's the same way, so if you do have a Spanish-speaking loan officer on your team, that's a big plus as well. We do credit repair in-house, and we don't charge for that, so that's really nice too, because a lot of renters think that they can't buy because of credit. Weekend and night accessibility. I don't shine too much light on this because I don't want agents calling me at 1 o'clock in the morning, but they do like knowing that if they need something, they're good. If you are checking in consistently every week for 12 weeks and then some, they're gonna not really need to call you on the weekends, because anything you've talked about earlier that week, the good agents know who they're taking out that weekend, and there shouldn't be a lot of last minute, hey, I need someone to be pre-qualified. So we're a banker with the ability to broker. If you're a broker, that's a huge plus too. People like knowing that they can shop rates. Educational tools to help you make more money. Again, I'm a little vague in that because every agent's going to be a little bit different. This can be anything from the agent mastermind classes from Freedom Club to CE classes, just like BK was talking about. Same thing with lead generation assistance. Again, this could take on a bunch of different things depending on the agent. Seminars and guest speakers that improve, it should say improve business, not improves. So we're doing the appraiser panel, and I know some of you were on the business development call with Brady and Tony. So if you got challenged to do an appraiser panel, this is something that would fall under that category. Ability to lend is about, it's probably more than 15 states, but my loan partner's licensed in 15 states plus Arizona. Clear and consistent communication, and then the personal liaison. So I threw that all in there. Just again, this is not an all-encompassing list, but I think this gives a lot to the agent. So feel free to steal anything that you want off of this list. And we'll go from there. And I'm gonna bump back a little bit. So I actually made you guys what's called the DSP. So is anyone familiar with DSP? Okay, BK, there's a few of you. Some of your loan partners, especially the ones in Freedom Club, they use what's called the DSP, which is a daily success plan. And there's a tracker that goes along with it that basically is a 30-day tracker. And that is going to cover basically all of your activities for the 30 days. So I went in and I altered it to make it CDR specific. And I'm going to send it to you guys so you have access to it. Again, it's a spreadsheet because you know how much I love spreadsheets. So I'm going to show you what that looks like right now. So this is what it is. And then, so I broke it out by month for you guys. It's all the same, but I did a template and then I broke it out by month. So you can go in and fill it out. Basically, it covers everything from your goals to your daily success rituals. So what do you need to do every day to meet those goals in the next 30 days? Same thing, weekly activities. I won't go too much in depth. Your calls. So this is where you like put their name so you can see who you've called. Your Focus 40 database marketing calls. So this for me is anyone that is like a referral partner for me that's not an agent. So financial advisors, CPAs, title partners, or just somebody that loves us and sends us business. I have somebody that I know that sends us, you know, a deal every month and they're not even remotely related to the mortgage industry. So that's part of my database. Coffee appointments, put a lot there because if you're doing 15 a week, that should be 30, 60 a month. Math again, that's why I'm not a loan officer. Loan applications, pre-approvals, contracts or locks. I put locks on there. That's just when we lock the rate in for refinances. So contracts obviously isn't going to come in on a refinance, but that's one that can count. Handwritten notes. Put social media videos on there too. We'll talk about that today. And then your agent list and leads. Any questions about that? I know I flew through that, but I think a lot of it's pretty self-explanatory.
So, Rachel?
Yeah.
So are you printing this and writing in this every day and then doing those other Excel spreadsheets? Like as you call people, can you just kind of walk through like as your day, like as you're doing a call, then how are you kind of tracking it?
Yeah, absolutely. So
or do you have it all on your computer and you kind of type like?
No, I'm old school. So I write.
I am too. So I'm just kind of trying to walk through in my head.
Yeah. So I print it out, and then what I'll do is write in the names there. The other trackers have the actual dates on there of follow-up touch points. So I go in and just add that on my computer, but this one I actually print out and write it out. Okay. You can do it however you want, but then after I write it out, I go in at the end of the week and I add all of my stuff in there.
That's what I was wondering. So the other spreadsheets, you're just kind of doing like end of the week, you're going in, adding the dates for like the next week.
Yep.
Kind of thing. Okay.
Yeah, and you can do it however you want. That's just personally how I do it. I like to write stuff down instead of type it out, and then I'll go back and look at it.
Okay.
So here's that one. I'm gonna just pop it in the chat really quick. Okay, so you would go over this. If they ask how you are different than other lenders and brokers out there, would you print this out and bring it to meetings? You could use that list as a follow-up item. So you could say, hey, listen, I know we talked a little bit about, you know, the things that made us at VIP different. I just wanted you to have a more encompassing list of different things that we can offer, and you could attach it or put it as a JPEG into that email, and then use that as another touch point and say, hey, did you get the email? What did you think? Did you have any questions about the services that we can offer to help, you know, improve your business as an agent? Great. What's the personal liaison to grow the realtor's business? That's me as a business development person. So you guys as business development person, you can either be called a liaison, a concierge, anything that says, hey, we're here to help you as the agent grow your business, and this list is how we do that. Obviously, like I said, it's a little vague in some of it, just because every agent's a little different, but we deep dive into your business with you to make sure that anything you're struggling with, we can help you as your lender partner. Any other questions on that stuff right now? All right, today, did anyone have coffee? You guys alive? Hello? April? New quarter? Anyone? All right, let me know if I'm going too fast too. We've got so much content today, it's unbelievable. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna share just real quick the business development plan that I do with my agents. And I used one that one of my agents and I went through together. So this template I posted on the Facebook group, I can send you guys a blank one via email so you can fill this in, alter it however you want. What I always tell agents when we do a business planning meeting, I'm gonna pepper you with questions for about 30 minutes. It's gonna feel like an interrogation, but I really want to see where your business is lacking and how we can help fill those voids. So any notes that I know about them from the first meeting gets thrown into this notes section at the top. I know where he's from, I know his family, I know all of those things. I use all of that as follow-up, right? So, you know, he's a sports fan for the Bears. If I see that the Bears made a big trade, I'm gonna text him and be like, hey, did you see the Bears finally got rid of Jay Cutler? I know Jay Cutler's not on the team anymore, but you know, different stuff like that. It's just a great follow-up tool because your follow-up doesn't have to be about real estate every single time. It can be personal, and actually I encourage you to be personal because at the end of the day, this is a relationship business and people are going to be loyal to people that they love and that they have commonalities with and know that you're paying attention to their life outside of real estate too. So I always run through like what they're involved in, organizations, things like that. If they're not, sometimes what it does is it motivates them to get more involved. And I tell them, just like I tell you guys, the more people that you see on a daily basis, the more opportunities there are for business. And so then we'll deep dive into their goals. And again, I'm asking questions that I can pinpoint follow-up for. So what are the 5 areas that you want to master professionally? This guy has been a huge referral source for me. I didn't know when I met him that his wife is the broker and her parents own the brokerage of a brokerage for 200 agents. And these are good producing agents. And me spending the time doing this with him, he went back to his wife and now I'm the lender for that brokerage. So there are different, there's some different things, like you never know who you're sitting in front of, and taking that extra time is huge. If this is not your jam, business planning, that's okay, guys. Like you don't have to do this. This is just what I've found works for me because I love templates and spreadsheets and goals and all of that stuff. But if it's not, it's okay. But I want to give you all the tools for you to be successful, and you can choose to use them if you want to. And then I'll just go through like different things. After we go through all the questions, I'll come back and give them homework assignments. So just like I do for you guys, I do it for my agent partners too. I highlight his name. Ryan, you need to make a list of your pipeline. He wants to do more farming, so he needs to create an event. And then I'm using those homework assignments as follow-up tools for him. And I'll say, listen, you said you want to do more farming and you're working on an event. What are you doing? When is it? So now I'm acting as an accountability partner, and I'm touching base to see, hey, this is what you said you wanted to do. I'm on board, I'm paying attention, I'm listening, I'm here. If I'm taking care of you, imagine how I'm taking care of your client. So lots of stuff on here. I won't go through everything, but I do want to touch down at the bottom. Are you happy with your current? So these are going to be other providers, and these are good referral partners for you guys. So I know that if he says, hey, I'm not really happy with my title company, awesome. I've got an amazing title representative that I work with very closely that I think you would love. Would you mind if I made an introduction for you? So now I'm adding value to the agent and to my title partner. So that's what I use this list for. It's not just that, hey, are you happy with these people? I'm using it strategically to connect my agents to someone else. And then Wade, actually, who's one of our LOs on this call, he asked me some questions about this. So do you have a PLLC? What that is, for those of you who aren't familiar, it's a personal limited liability corporation. It just provides extra protection for the agent, and it's a business structure. The reason I ask this is because I partner with an estate planning attorney who sets up PLLCs, and he's done amazing lunch and learns for us on why being taxed as a PLLC is advantageous for a real estate agent. So now I know if they say no, I can invite them to my class and we can talk about PLLCs. And then down at the bottom, I don't know how to scroll. Oh, I took it off there. But on the actual template, you'll see like a for Rachel. That's you. You can be Rachel or whoever you want to be. But down at the bottom, it's just, did you add them on social? Did you leave them a Google review? Did you put them in your top of mind system or your marketing system? It's what I use just to track the follow-up side of things. So we have questions on that.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you typically do these in person? Like, will you say, or do you let them decide if they want it in person, if they want it over the phone?
I do it in person.
Okay.
During COVID, I did it on Zoom, but we're super open here. So
Yeah,
I do it in person, just so I can really go deep with them and ask, the questions that are on there.
Cool.
Alice?
Question, when do you introduce this to the agent? Like, how long after the calls and the meetings and stuff like that?
If I know it's someone that's structured and that is very motivated, I'm going to bring it up in that first meeting, because chances are that first meeting is not going to be talking about loan stuff. And I'll just say to them, hey, listen, I think you're awesome. I would love to figure out where you're lacking your business and how we can increase your numbers. If you want to make more money this year, totally up to you. But if you want to set up a business planning meeting, I'd love to do that. It's about a half hour. I'm going to pepper you with questions, but my whole goal is to make sure that I'm a great lender partner to you, but I need to figure out what you need from your lender partner to reach those goals that you have for yourself this year. So I use it as a setup for my second meeting, and then my second meeting will be that business planning where I'll ask them questions for 30 minutes, and then I'll go back and add all of that stuff. You could do a third meeting going over the items that you gave them, or if they're like, I'm going to just run with it, you could send it to them and then use that as follow-up to say, hey, listen, one of the items was do this. Did you do that?
Got it.
Question,
Thank you.
Rachel. On we use Top of Mind, but we also use all the other things, HomeBot and MBS Highway. When do you just sign them up for that stuff, or do you? I mean, I know Top of Mind, you can put them right in because that way they're connected with the Simple Nexus or whatever you use. But how about the other platforms? Do you do that right away, or do you wait till your third or fourth?
Yeah, so for Top of Mind, I put them in right away just because that is a free program and I can send them, the list reports equivalent property page. If it's something like HomeBot where we're paying per agent, they're not getting in there until we've done a deal together. That's just, I always tell them, I'm like, I don't pay to play. This is how it is. We got to make sure we're a good fit for each other before we start, putting money into you as well. So.
Thank you.
Yep. Any more questions on that? I feel like I should deliver Starbucks to all of you guys because you just look either very intrigued or very bored. I don't know. So I hope it's not bored, but what part, Dawn? Adding agents? Oh, yeah. I won't put money into paying for leads or HomeBot or anything like that until we do a deal together. So if someone says to me, hey, we really want you to pay for leads, I'm totally open to that. But before we do that and we have that conversation, I really want to make sure that we're a good fit for you and you're a good fit for us. Because if we're not communicating well, then you're going to be stuck with me for months on Zillow. So let's do a deal together and see how that goes before we start investing in something else like Zillow or anything like that.
What Wade and I say is we say, hey, let's date first before we get married.
Love that.
We're totally open to it, down the road, but you know, let's make sure, you know, the relationship both ways, that we like each other, so. And the, you know, the agent kind of chuckles, and so it kind of lightens the mood a little bit, and they're like, oh, yeah, totally.
Love
So,
that. That's a
It
great
seems to
script.
work.
Yeah, and you'll find too that like not a lot of people just will say, hey, will you pay for my Zillow leads on the first meeting? If they do, it's just kind of like a red flag for me. I just say I'm not a piggy bank, but I'm happy to invest on things that have, you know, a good return on investment. We just need to make sure that we're all on the same page first. Remember, guys, the agent is not the prize. I know that it's taught that the agents sometimes think that they're like the best thing ever, and maybe they are, maybe they're great, but you're great too. What you're doing is so different than any other loan officers in your area that don't have business development rep. Your loan partner brought you on to make sure that the relationships you're building are super strong. And so you can tell them, hey, if you want to go look at other lenders, go for it. You'll come back. It's cool. Like, I know, they always come back. They always do.
You're gonna come
So,
back.
yeah, don't be afraid to tell them and be up front with them. Like, that was one of my biggest things. You know, when I first started, I was just like, oh, this agent's totally the prize. No, I'm the prize. So you have to change your mindset and be confident in who you are. And if they can't accept that and they don't see your value, that's not a good fit for you.
Rachel, I have a question. When was it that you remember kind of feeling the shift of the agent's not the prize, I'm the prize, but like legit believing it?
Took a while. If you look at that first year that I told you guys, I went from 9 million to 31 million. That's like a $22 million jump, because I didn't believe in myself that first year. I was like, oh my gosh, who is this person? And they do $10 million in business. Cool, great, that's awesome. But they could do a lot more if they listened to me. So it took me a while. I think like anything else, we're a little insecure when we first start. But just realize that like you and your loan partner are here for a reason. Your loan partner didn't hire you because you suck at life. Like, let's be very honest with you. You guys are all rock stars. So you have to believe that internally. And as you become more confident with the script and practice that stuff with your loan partner, but as you become more comfortable with that and feeling like you know what your role is, that confidence will come. But my goal, and that's part of the reason why we created this BDR group, is to help you get there faster than it took me, because I could have done a lot more in the beginning if I would have knew what I was doing. Anne Marie?
Yeah, like I'm struggling with just I feel like I'm overcommitting. Like, how do you fulfill everything that you're telling this agent? Like, hey, I'm willing to help you. This is what I'm going to do. I just feel overwhelmed with how many meetings. And then how do you be successful in really following through with everything?
Yeah, and I think too, guys, what I'll do, if you're questioning how committed the agent is, I give them little tasks to see, hey, are they going to complete this? Because if they're not completing this and I'm pouring in all of this love and effort, then again, I need to scale back. But if it's someone that's moving right along with you and sending leads, then you're going to be okay. So I think how much business they send to you is a good indicator of the amount of time that you spend with that agent or working on something. I get it. I can't say no to save my life, which gets me into trouble, and then I'm tired. So Anne-Marie, I think you've got to play it by ear and make sure you're super structured. So all of those meetings make time to do the follow-up. Because I think it's really easy to say, oh, I'm going to take a meeting at 10 a.m. and I'm going to make a meeting at 2 and then 5. And by the time you know it, you've got to go home and you might have kids or whatever. You're like, now I got to feed them and I haven't even had time for myself. So don't be afraid to say no. I think that's my biggest thing. And start small. Give them little tasks to see what they're doing. Does that help?
Yeah, it does. I just gotta, it's just me. I say yes, or I will do things, and then I'm like, oh my God, I'm not following through because I'm committing myself to so many people.
Yeah.
And I get worn out.
Then scale back, because you at 10% is not going to be effective as you at 90%. So it's okay to slow down to speed up. take that time. And Beth, did you want to say something? Yeah, I know you're really good at this.
Yeah, and because I've been in marketing for over 10 years too, I had the same problem as I was like the yes person. What I found out now is I'll stop before I even say yes, I can, or yes, I'm available. Even if I'm not driving in my car or if I'm not in a meeting, I'll say, hey, listen, I'm actually driving my car. Give me a few minutes or about an hour or so. When I get to my next stop, I'll get back to you. That then gives you time to kind of like remember who they are. When was the last thing they did? Call the office. Have you gotten leads from them? And then also, because most of us have like P&Ls, if somebody's over asking you to do things, I kind of push it back to my loan officer and I'm like, hey guys, I'm kind of on a budget. I can only do one broker's open, one open house a month, but hey, why don't we do this again in a month or two? And then that way it kind of puts it back in their court. Okay, she's busy, she's working with all these great agents, I'll follow back up with her.
Yeah, and I too, when we do business planning, I say, guys, this is a labor-intensive process. Give me about a week to get this back to you. Because I think like all of us, and that's why I make the agenda, we like to know the next steps. So you guys don't come on this call just like, oh, what's Rachel gonna do today? You know exactly what we're going to do. And I think agents are the same way. If they know, then they're not expecting you to do it in the next 30 seconds. So Beth makes a great point. Set the expectation. Is there anything specifically that you're running into, or do you want to give me like an example of maybe a situation where you felt like that?
No, I'm just thinking about kind of approaching it like you have with the business development stuff. Just thinking about doing that with an agent feels overwhelming to me, just for how many I could do that with. And then where do you extend yourself? Like, when do you stop? How much do you offer? I mean, you have a lot of things that you created for them to do, but like, how do you keep following back up with them? I don't know. I'm just kind of the nurturing aspect and making sure it keeps going and that you're creating that deeper relationship. But if you're doing that with so many agents and you're trying to build that all consistently, I guess I'm just at that point, like overwhelmed.
Yeah, and I think too, like I said, if business planning is not the route that you want to take, that's okay. I just gave that because I know some people really enjoy it. I like to do it with my agents, but that's just my own tactic. And you have to remember too, the reason we have that Focus 40 list is to see who's worth our time. So if they haven't sent us a lead in 90 days, they're no longer getting my support. So that's why, and when you start out, it is very overwhelming. I remember when I started out, I was working 7 days a week and I was just hustling. But as you start to get the flow and you've got agents who love you and know that your team kicks ass for them, they're not going to need as much. And I would say the other thing too is, again, it goes back to make sure your agents are qualified, because the higher producers are actually less needy than the newer and lower producers. And you'll find that too. And it's okay if you go to a meeting and you meet somebody and you're like, this person's gonna suck the life out of me, I'm not working with them. Again, you're the prize, value you. If you aren't on full cylinders, it doesn't help anyone, your family, yourself, your office. So be okay to say no.
Hey, Rachel.
Yeah.
So somebody had a question in chat and I responded snidely, so I want to give them a chance to actually get a real response from you.
Okay, hold on.
She asked, what will you pay for before the first deal?
Coffee. I always say, like, listen, unless they're a huge producer, they're not going to lunch. Like, unless they've got like 25 buy-sides a year, they're not going to lunch. It just isn't a thing for me, and that's why I like coffee. You can do a beer, happy hour type thing if you want to, that's okay. But don't spend a bunch of money on there, because then they come to expect it. So until you guys are truly a partnership, I don't pay for much. My time is really valuable, that's their payment. So again, you have to create that mindset though. It's hard. It is hard because you're looking at them, you're like, if I can just close this person and I can get, 10 deals a year, that's a trip to wherever, or that's a school tuition for my kids, I get it. But if it's a red flag, guys, it's a red flag. Just bounce, be out. Okay, cool. Yeah, Kim, do you want to explain your follow-up? And I know we're going a little off course today, but it's okay, guys. Like, this is good. We're doing BDR counseling right now. It's going to be great.
Basically, Emery, I have to tell you that I feel the same way. Last week was a struggle. I couldn't get anybody on the phone. I barely made my appointments for this upcoming week. It's hard. You have to kind of just keep going and tell yourself that it's out there and they're gonna respond. But basically what I do on Mondays and Fridays is we use ZipWhip, and it's basically a texting thing that we have, and you can use it on your computer, you can get it on your phone, and you can schedule out text messages, and you can put 100 agents in one group, and it like sends out a mass text to all of them. They don't see it, but it's super helpful and it's staying top of mind. Like on Mondays, obviously everybody's taught like, did you play or did you work over the weekend? But change it up, make it fun. Like the one on Friday I sent, it was super fun and I got so many laughs from it. And it was basically just that moment when both husband and wife finally agree on the same home, because this market sucks, to be brutally honest. And it said, I hope you have a great weekend. Let me know if I can get your clients pre-approved for your weekend showing. And there's different options out there. And so you don't have to be like on your computer doing that. You can schedule them out, and that's what I've been doing. And it's super helpful. And then you get people responding. So that's kind of my thought. And it's helped me a little bit the past few weeks, I would say. So that's kind of a different option out there.
I love that. Will you drop that in the chat so people that want to
Yeah.
see? Same with like BombBomb too. You know, that's a video platform that you could do via email. You send it out to a lot of people. It's automated. You can record a bunch of stuff at one time. So there are different options too. And Beth, you want to tag along? And I know you had a really good post too about on Facebook. Do you want to talk about that a little bit as well?
Well, yeah, and I also want to say, my Monday morning calls were going horrible. And I talked to a few of my realtor friends, you know, we're actually like friends, went to school together, and they said, Beth, literally, I'm getting 5 to 6 calls Monday morning between 9 and 10 from mortgage people. I said, okay, so I switched mine up, and I'm actually breaking them down more so in the afternoon, sometimes Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. And the response back I'm getting on that has been amazing. I did 30 calls last week. I got 22 touches, and as of today, I got 16 appointments set.
Oh yeah, that's
All those calls were done in the afternoon. I mean, literally, agents were texting me 7, 8 o'clock at night. Oh my gosh, so sorry, it's been that day. Girl, I know it's crazy. So yeah, for me, switching my days has kind of helped better. That way too, I can get my copies done in the morning time. That way I'm finding if I do my copies at 9, 9:30, and 10, I'm not as tired, and then I can run the rest of the day just talk on the phone and texting.
Yep, and you can totally do that. I know we've got it flip-flopped on the time blocking schedule, but if you like doing it that way, totally fine. I think the whole goal of that is just the consistency of your schedule. Make sure you time block and do all of your meetings in one chunk. So whether that's the beginning of the day or the end of the day, I think that's awesome. And you know, it's a game, guys. Like there are some weeks it sucks. You're gonna be like, why am I in this business? Why am I doing what I'm doing? Well, we have an amazing job, and I promise you, stick with it and be consistent, and things start to happen. I mean, you saw all the different wins, and some of those are from people that have been in, you know, the industry for 6 months to a year. So it's a process. Courtney.
Yeah, I just had more of a question.
Sure.
How do you deal with a real estate agent that I call on a weekly basis, and she always answers her phone, but she's always saying, oh, I'm in the middle of something, let me call you back, or my kids are in the car, let me call you back, and she never calls back. Do you recommend before the end of the day, maybe calling her or texting her and saying, hey, I haven't heard back, just wanted to check in, see how things are going? What would you do in this? Because it's probably been like four weeks now that she's done this in a row.
Okay. Well, the good news is she's answering the phone. She hasn't blocked you yet, so that's positive. What you could do, if you get her email address, ping her calendar, Coffee with Courtney. And that's worked for me in the past. Sometimes they're just too busy. Yeah, BK says stay consistent. You could send a video text to her and say, hey, it's me, Courtney. I know you're super swamped, but I didn't want you to think I forgot about you, and I hope you didn't forget about me. So can't wait to grab coffee. Just address the elephant in the room, and switch it up. You know, maybe she is answering and she's getting killed with those realtor call or those lender calls that every morning or whenever you're calling. So switch it up. The other thing you can do too, and I was planning on talking about this today, but just I've sent like branded shot glasses. I just said, hey, can't wait for you to give us a shot. Something cheesy like that, or you can send a pair of white gloves and say, we'd love to give you white glove service. People love getting mail. I get like 10 subscription boxes. It's absolutely asinine why I do that, but people love getting mail, so send them something.
I've even went as far as, like, since we can't get together with coffee, I'll send them a gift card to coffee and say, hey, coffee's on me still.
Yeah, love that. That's good too. There's so many different options for you, so switch it up. That's my best advice.
Okay.
Ayala, do you have a question?
I have one question. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I was just gonna say for Anne Marie, because I understand the frustration, maybe stick to two things that you're committed, consistent to every realtor that you're meeting in the beginning. Like pick two things that you want to help them with or you want to do, and then it's the same two tasks, and then just consistently do, as opposed to putting yourself out there and doing, I'll help you with this, and I'll do it, because I am, yes, I'm not yes girl too, but I'll do anything for anybody, just as long as I get my foot in the door, but it is overwhelming, and when you have a family and the elderly, and I mean, in my situation, it's overwhelming. So maybe pick two things and then be consistent with that. I don't know, that could help you.
That's good. That's good advice.
Yeah.
Sarah, do you have something?
Yeah, so after you do the deep dive with them and you sort of do the business assessment and you collect all of your information, and then I guess the idea would be to fill it out with how you can help them.
Yep.
Where are you finding the expertise as to what to do to find the answers of how to help them, I guess, is my question.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of them just don't even know where to start sometimes. So what I like to do is if they say, hey, I need more listings, it's super easy to go on to like a podcast, just search in podcast listings and find something. So you don't have to create all of the content. It's out there, but agents sometimes are really lazy and they don't like to go and find it themselves. So if you can be that person and say, hey, I found this podcast on listings and I know that's something that you're really interested in, check it out. Then a follow-up point to that could be later in the week. You can say, hey, what do you think of the podcast? Yep. So you're using tools that are already pre-made for you. Theclose.com is something that's amazing. I use it all the time. It's free. I'll throw it in the chat for you, theclose.com. And then if you, sorry, it would help if I put it to everyone. Sorry, Steph. .com. And then the other thing that if you Google Pat Hiban's Real Estate Rockstars, there's a toolbox, and every person that he interviews on that podcast has to leave an item of value for agents, and these are top producing agents, so they leave really good stuff. And there's over 1,000 different documents, and it's all sorted out for you. So it's under marketing, it's open houses, there's templates and scripts and all sorts of stuff. I use that religiously, and I just have our marketing department recreate it, or you can recreate it in Canva.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yep. Okay, how are we doing? You guys hanging in there? Good? Okay, cool. I'm gonna pop back into the PowerPoint. Feel free to keep dropping stuff in the chat, and then we'll just rock and roll. I can't believe it's 9 o'clock my time. I'm sure it's lunchtime. You guys are all hungry now, but. Okay, so we went over biz dev stuff, business plan, that. So just wanted to go over some more follow-up stuff because now you guys are having meetings and setting meetings. And I know we kind of segued into this a little bit already, But immediately following the meeting, I would just create yourself a checklist. You could even print out this slide and use it for each meeting that you do. I add them on social media. I think that's a good way that I can follow up too. I can always comment on their stuff. I get to know them a little bit more personally, and they're gonna start seeing my stuff too. Send them a video text before you leave the parking lot. So I just do a little selfie video. Hey, Anne-Marie, it was so great meeting you. Listen, I know that you are plugging right along. I can't wait to be part of that. If you need anything, let me know. Excited to be your partner in real estate. And then I just text it to them, save their number. I'm notorious for not saving numbers, and sucks because then they're like, hey, Rachel, and you're like, shit, who is this? Send a thank you note. I know that sounds rudimentary, but it goes back to the everyone loves getting mail. If you don't have their home address, that's okay. Just send it to the office. Plus, then people see that they're getting mail. And if you haven't gotten a second meeting, if you have gotten a second meeting, so say you do the business plan style and say, hey, let's meet to do business planning or go over your goals. Doesn't have to be the exact business planning. Send them a calendar invite. I do this for my classes too. So if I set up a class, I just ping everyone's calendar, and then they can just accept or decline it. And then I don't have to remind them and say, hey, are you coming to our class? And then they forget to put it on their calendar and they don't show up. So that's a good tactic that I use too. Also, make sure you add them to any CRM or marketing platform. So if you guys do have an email campaign, this is a great way to add them to that. And you can always ask their permission as well, and I encourage you to. Adding them to MTA or MMI, if you guys aren't familiar what those are different services that will help track their production. If you have your own account, you can add them to what's called the watch list. It will tell you every time that there is a new listing, that they've got a new closing. I use that as a touch point. If I see they've got a new listing, hey, saw you have a new listing up in Scottsdale. Do you need anything for it? Can I make a property page for you? Are you planning on having a broker open? It's just another touch point that you can use instead of saying, hey, what are you doing this weekend? Do you have any pre-qualified buyers? It's just a nice way to reach out to them. And then if they have any follow-up items saying, hey, send me info about why you're unique as a lender, do that at least same day, if not next day. All right, so 12 weeks of follow-up. We've talked a lot of different things about ways that you can follow up with your agents. I threw in a couple here that I use. You can switch it up. It could be call, text, open houses. It doesn't have to be 12 different ones, but you can switch it up because sometimes it's nice to get different mediums, and I put the branded shot glass on there too. Sending a book. Yeah.
Sorry, on your follow-up, is this included with, on the Mortgage Marketing Animals, they recommend calling on Monday and sending a text or call on Thursday. Do you do both of those things plus this, or is this follow-up counts for one of those weeks? And
one touch per week.
Okay.
I think sometimes they get overwhelmed, especially if my loan partners are calling them saying, hey, here's where your leads are, here's what's going on. I let them handle the transactional side. Mine is going to be, how's your business going? What can we do? Are you happy with the team? So I just do 12 different weeks of follow-up. If you see them in person, guys, that counts as a follow-up. So I just like to switch it up a little bit. Sending a podcast, video messaging, leaving a review on Google for them. Guys, they lose their mind about that. They love having Google reviews. I would have your team do it too. That these are all follow-up points. Anything that makes them think, hey, I just saw that Rachel did this, is a follow-up. Okay, so there are so many different things you can do. Inviting them to events or classes, they love that because it's not salesy. So this is kind of a list. And what I'm going to have you do for next week is build it out to what you want it to look like. So the reason I didn't set a set one for you guys is because I think it's going to look a little bit different for every single person on this call. Sending a book might not be your jam, and that's okay. So make 12 weeks. so that you can say, hey, I had a meeting with Courtney, here's my first touch point. Next week, this is what it's gonna look like. Does that make sense? Does anyone have questions on that? Cool.
Rachel, I do.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is what I'm really struggling with right now. I have the 12-week plan all set and formed out, like a whole thing done, but are you keeping track of this in your spreadsheet? I just feel like it's like really dropping the ball after I'm calling all the agents and meeting with the agents, and then, you know, every time I'm meeting with one, keeping track of which one I've done which, you know, week, which week I'm on with each one of them, not having a system in place. We're transitioning with computer systems, and there will be an automated system at some point for that, but right now it's not. So how are you, like, you know, sorry, with all the, you know, how are you keeping track of, okay, I meet with these 5 agents today, and these 5 agents tomorrow, and these 5 the next day, and, you know, what, without it all falling apart?
Yeah, so I'm gonna, hold on, I'm gonna pop this up really quick. You would think I'd be really great at Zoom after all of these years. No, but not. Share screen. So this realtor reach out template that I sent you last week, this is gonna be really great for you. You could do it, I got them on the phone, or just copy and paste and do it as an agent. So let's do Jake, whatever, I won't put phone number right now. Sent email, sent, and I would put the dates on there too. So sent email 4/3. And then the next week you can put sent shot glass 4/8. Meeting 4/15. So I just put it on there. And so, you know, up at the top, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way to 12. It can just be on your tracker. It doesn't have to be something crazy, but at least you know, like, hey, I've reached out to this person 12 consistent weeks in a row, and use that for tracking what you've done. Does that help?
Okay, yep. Okay. That's what I started doing last week, but I didn't know if that's what you were actually using even after you've met them in person too.
Yep, I use that. Like I said, I'm an Excel crazy person. But again, guys, if you have a better system that you want to do, it does not have to be Rachel's way every single time. Do what works best for you. Yeah, Beth's got a notebook. Like, go old school. It's fine.
I got a notebook, and then what I do is I sit down the end of the month, and then I just drop everything in there. Because if not, I was looking at the Excel spreadsheet for like literally 2 hours, just staring at it because the columns were the same size, or this one was going over too far.
I guess I'm not that OCD about it, so yeah, do your notebook. The other thing I've seen people do as well is they'll print it out and put it in a binder and do tabs per agent and just run through and like manually write it. So do what works best for you, Steph. Like, it does not have to be the Excel way. That's just how I do it. I would just put on there the touch point and the date, and that will help you kind of stay consistent as far as the touches.
We use what's called GoGo Agent, and we actually use it for both like our leads and when I go and meet realtors and stuff, I'll put them in there too, or insurance agents or whatever. And then so on there you can create your own tasks, and you run what's called an action set, and then it will pull up your to-do or tasks, you know, whether it's like, so for example, somebody sends me a new lead, I put them in there, I run an action set that says I've received a new lead with the contact information. Because sometimes, you know, agents will be like, hey, the name, but they don't send the info, and they just let you know they're gonna reach out. So I would run it and say, hey, got a new referral with contact information. So then it pops up all these to-dos, and it's like a 3-month follow-up with the lead. And then it's on there like to send a thank you to the referral. So we'll send cookies to the person that sent us the lead or the agent, or a thank you card and all that. And we have like I have somebody, so I don't send my own thank yous and stuff, so we have, Jason on our team, he's in charge of like sending thank yous and sending like, you know, cookies for people or people that are about to close and sending it to the buyer's agent, and we also send it to the seller's agent too. So that kind of like, you know, anyways, so Google Agent works really good, and you can create these tasks yourself. So if you have coffee with somebody, then I would run an action set, you know, whatever that is. And then every week or daily, I come in and I don't have to try to remember things, and it's just all there. And like, I just go through my tasks, whether it's calling somebody or, you know, emailing or texting somebody.
Love that. That's awesome. Yeah, and I think, again, just consistency is key. So, and I'm going to stress this to you over and over again, you can do it however works best for you. Whatever's going to help you be most efficient and consistent, do it that way. I just gave you kind of the, here's the bare bones, do with it what you please. So, okay. So the leads are coming in. That's exciting. I know where some of us are at this point where you're starting to get leads, which is awesome. And for those of you who aren't, don't worry, they're coming. I promise you, they're going to come. So what I like to do, and I think this is really important because this is where I really struggled at the beginning, is explaining to the agent who the hell I am and how this whole flow goes. So I tell agents, I'm here to take great care of you, our team, or you could insert your loan partner's name, will take great care of your clients. So just so there's no confusion, here's how I recommend you send leads to our team to make sure that your clients are getting communicated with right away and in the best manner possible. Send me and Austin, and I'm going to use Austin just because that's my loan partner, send Austin and I the contact information either via a group text or a group email. That way, whoever is available right away is going to take care of your client. If they give out someone's contact information, so say they're like, oh, they want to call you on your own time, their own time, totally fine. Have them give your loan partner's information out or the team line that people call to put in an application. Because if they get yours, then it's going to get really confusing because they're going to be like, wait, you don't do the loan stuff? Who are you? What do you do? It's going to happen. I'm going to tell you right now, not everyone listens as well as you want them to. If the leads do contact you, I would say be very concise and just say, absolutely, we are going to be really excited to take care of you. Praise the agent. Nicole's an amazing agent. So here are the next steps. I'm going to send you over an application link, or our team is going to send you over an application link. Once you complete that, Austin is going to reach out to you. And so set that next expectation, because the person's going to be like, well, you know, I don't know what to do. And a lot of times it'll be the first-time home buyers. So if they start talking to you about all sorts of leads, just say, hey, listen, Austin's actually our expert in first-time home buyers. I'm going to have him call you directly. And those are two scripts that I use, just if a lead does call me, and then I'll just reach out to the agent and say, hey, listen, so-and-so reached out to me, just wanted to say that moving forward, make sure that you provide Austin's contact information when you give our info out to the leads, just because he is our mortgage expert on our team, and I want to make sure that they're not confused with who they're talking to. So I think setting the expectations with the agents is the biggest thing, because otherwise it gets very confusing and they have no idea what's going on, and then there's frustration. As far as tracking these leads, because people ask me, okay, if they're calling Austin directly, how do you know that your lead came in? I always let our agents know, if you're sending a lead, again, just tell us who you gave our information to, so I can give you an update once they call. Our team meets 3 times a week with our leads and goes over exactly where they're at. We have a tracking spreadsheet that tells me all of our leads. It's very right up my alley because it's an Excel style spreadsheet, but your loan partner might have something differently. So talk to your loan officer and see how they track their leads and how you can see if someone sends a lead without you knowing. And then I track my own individual leads on a spreadsheet. You can do this again if you have a CRM. And I just color code. So if a lead comes in, okay, Sarah B is my lead. Here's who it's from. If it's red, it's dead, meaning they've got no shot in the world. We can kind of just forget about it. Yellow means they've completed an application. Blue means a pre-qualification's out, and green means a deal. Like I said, very basic, but that's how I do it, just so I can see exactly where my leads are. And I'm finding out all of these updates by talking to my loan officer or my loan partner, okay? When you call to talk to your agents, again, this could be another follow-up step for you. Be sure to thank them for sending the leads. And then if there are any updates, and nothing crazy, like this is what their credit score came back, but I would just say, hey, Sarah completed the application. I just wanted to let you know, as soon as we've moved on to pre-qualification, our team will let you know. But I just wanted to thank you again for sending that person over. So I give them like a kind of an update, but nothing too specific. And then I send thank you cards for leads, just like Jamie does, just saying, hey, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. You could do, like Beth was saying, hey, have coffee on us. We really appreciate, you know, trusting us with your clients. Questions on sending over leads or tracking leads?
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
So I have some realtors that, and I kind of like this, but I want your opinion on it.
Yeah.
They don't want the whole confusion of getting the client involved with me, so to speak. So they just asked if they could have a handful of my realtors, or not my realtors, my loan officers' business cards.
Yep.
So they could hand them to a potential buyer. The buyer could call the LO directly.
Yep.
Thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that's totally fine. I would just have them tell you, hey, I gave Austin's or whoever card out to Sarah. Just that's an update, and just say, I just want to make sure that our team is taking great care of you and the leads. So will you do me a favor?
Just let me know when you give that card out. Yeah.
Yep. And I can go ahead.
We use Salesforce, and so that realtor is in as me. So if the buyer calls and they're like, oh, I'm working with Jane Doe, if they were to look in Jane Doe in Salesforce, they would see that she belongs to me. So they'd put her lead underneath that. So it would be tracked that way. But I also want to be able to talk to her to sort of let her know that I'm aware that we've got somebody of hers in-house.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have the same thing. I will tell you, sometimes my loan partner forgets to put the lead source in there. So that's why I like to track it too, just because you know things are moving quickly. And it also allows you to see what kind of leads the agents are sending you. So if they're sending you leads every single day, but all of them are credit repair and just probably not going to qualify, that might not be an agent that you want to keep long term, because your team is now spending all of their resources for something that's not coming into fruition. So I like tracking my own leads to see, of the leads that we sent, how much are completing the application, how many are making it to pre-qualification status, and how many are actually going under contract. Right now, with the market being where it's at, I consider a pre-qual a win, just because I know that the contracts right now are harder and harder to accept, especially if you're in a market where you're competing with a lot of cash, like here in Phoenix. And I know Florida's kind of the same way. So consider that a win right now. A pre-qual buyer means it's ready to go. It just might be longer term in your pipeline because of the market's current situation.
Okay.
Any other questions on tracking, sending? Good. I can't see more than 5 people, so I hope no one's raising their hand. Speak now or forever hold your peace, or drop it in the chat. Just kidding. Okay, so when the lead actually turns into a deal, I have our team send me the contract. This is going to allow me to see when it's closing, what my loan amount is going to be. I track all of that stuff as far as like my average loan amount. You guys will get into that groove, and I'll teach you how to do that a little bit more. But I like to see the contract and who the listing agent is. So I always send a thank you to the referring agent, so our agent, and then also the listing agent. I pull the numbers on the listing agent to see if they're qualified. And this is really important too, because if it's a listing agent that's handling pretty much all listings and they have like one buyer, that's probably not the best person for you to go after just because they're not going to have the amount of leads. So if they fit into that 8 buy-sides or more, then they can be qualified as your agent. And then you would treat them just like the follow-up plan. So I always reach out and introduce myself. I say, hey, listen, this is Rachel from the Bates team at VIP Mortgage. We've got a contract on 123 Main Street with you. Super excited to work with you. If you haven't worked with us before, we really are sticklers about communication. So you're going to hear a lot from us. But my job is to just make sure you as the agent is happy, and my team's going to take great care of your sellers on this contract and make sure that everything goes smoothly. And then it's just a reach out at that point. I always ask my team how they are to work with. If they're qualified, they might be a nightmare to work with under contract. And at that point, I'll say, hey, listen, this is more effort than it's worth. I send them a thank you. I talk to them. Cool. Everything's good. But make sure your team likes them, because I think that's important. You've already got that opportunity there. And then at the end, I like to do what's called celebrating the closing. So I always just reach out to them and say, how did everything go? We loved working with you. Obviously, you see how our team runs now. One of the things you may not know is that my role with our team is to make sure our agent partners are taken care of and making as much money as possible. With that being said, I'd love to just go and celebrate our closing with you. It was an awesome transaction. Our team loved you. Do you want to go grab a drink? Or if you're doing a team happy hour, which we'll talk about in prospecting, invite them to the team happy hour and say, we'd love to invite you to our monthly happy hour just to celebrate the closing with you. Have a drink on us. So that's how I roll with our listing agents. Beth, go ahead.
Do you attend the closings that are close to your area?
No. I don't. Just because, again, I'm more there for the agents than the actual clients. And then they're like, who's this random person that just rolled in? I've never talked to this person in my life. So personal preference, if you guys make it some sort of celebration, that's definitely a way that you could get in front of the agent. One thing you could do, though, if you wanted to go to the closing, if the buyer or seller is there and they're willing to, you could have them do a video testimonial about their agent, share it on your social media, and then tag that agent on there. I think that would be a huge win. I haven't put any manpower into doing that, but can you imagine if you were an agent and you're like, wow, the lender on the other side just sent a video about how much my sellers loved me. And then they're going to share that on their social media too. So it's an exposure thing. So there's definitely pluses of attending the closing, but when you start getting, double-digit closings every month, it's a little bit harder to go to every single one. Hold on, we got chats. Kim, do you want to explain a little bit? You attend closings, agents love that. Will you explain what your process is on that? Because I'm curious.
Yeah. So basically, I have 2 closings at the end of this week, and our LOs let everybody know that's part of the transaction, that I'm going to be there. And I basically just go for support. I sit at the opposite side of the table, and I literally bring our closing gifts, and I'm there just to celebrate with them. Sometimes they have questions, but I typically will message someone on Teams because I don't want to be answering those questions.
Sure.
But that is kind of how it works. And then I take a closing picture. They're super excited. I ask how the transaction went. So it's a really good way to kind of get your reviews too and know how the whole transaction went overall. But I have agents tell me all the time that it's so nice to have you here. No LOs come, or nobody from the lending side comes. So it's been positive feedback. I can't attend all of them, but I try to attend as much as I can.
Now, do you just attend yours, or is any for the branch?
All of our team. There's 7 of us, so yeah, I go to all of them if I can. But the coffee appointments come first, though, with me, so.
Yeah, love that. I think that's awesome. I'm totally not opposed to that. My loan partner is closing like 80 deals a month, so it would be a little hard for me to go to all of those, but I could definitely go to my own. So I think it's awesome. This is what I love about this call is I learn new things from you guys too. Do you have the scripts for listing agents written out? I don't. It's kind of in my head, but I'm happy to write it out for you. So right. What do we have here? Homework, yay! You guys are like, stop, you're such a teacher. I know. 12-week follow-up plan. So make that to your, it doesn't have to be something crazy, but just something, you know, week 1, they're gonna get a call. Week 2, they're gonna get an email. Week 3, they're getting a shot glass. So it's consistent, and then you don't have to think, okay, well, what did I do last week, and how am I gonna do this now? So let's work on that. 3 to 5 social media posts, and I'm gonna share something with you guys, the holy grail, in just a second. I would love if you guys can do a why video. Like, why do you love your job, and why are you in this industry? And if you don't know, this is a great time to reflect on what really is your role. Like for me, my dad was a builder. I knew from the moment I was born the amount of work that it took into building a house and actually purchasing a house. And I think that's super exciting. So I'm here to help educate people on how to get to that next step and help agents grow their business so that more people can get into homes. That's my why. That's why I get up every day. That, and to provide a great life for my dog so she can go to daycare and be very extra. So, you know, I think a why video is really impactful, and anytime you're vulnerable on social media, it goes over really well. I will just tell you that right now. So if you are struggling on all of that stuff, I will create a why video too, so you guys can see it, and feel free to steal whatever you want from it. And don't analyze it, guys. Like, you're gonna watch it 700 times and be like, I hate my voice. Like, don't look good, just do it. Do it, post. Do it, post. Meet with your loan officer if you haven't already to share your why work with us list and see if there's anything he or she wants to add to that. Planning an event. So this is for my peeps that were on the call with Brady and Tony. It doesn't have to be this month, but plan something for the future, whether it's a class or an appraiser panel. I want to start thinking of more ways for you to reach out to agents and invite them to something, because again, you're not selling, you're inviting and providing value. That's one. And then of course, do your weekly recap and time blocking. And I think of anything else in the world, you guys are going to love me for this. So yes, BK, I think they'll be very confused if you post my why video as you, but you do you. Okay.
It'll be me mouthing everything you say.
Oh, that'll be awesome. I love it. So ignore the horrible scan job that I did, but this is my list of social media ideas. I broke it down into lending and lifestyle, and how I like to do this is I will actually do like 1 lending video and like 3 posts on personal stuff. I will tell you, here's the reason why I do this. Social media has an algorithm that the more engagement you get on a post, your other stuff will show up more frequently. So our goal with our personal stuff is to build as much traction as possible. So when we post a lending video, then it's going to have a lot of interaction. I will tell you 2 of my biggest things, and you're going to totally lose it on me for this. I put, do you like Starbucks, yes or no? That poll got more traction than anything in the whole world. And then, do you use a top sheet on your bed? So what I did is I posted that. I had a lot of traction, and then I posted something about our team and why you should work with us. So we're strategically doing that. But I have 6 pages of social media ideas for you guys. So I broke it down into lending and lifestyle. So the first couple pages are lending. Don't worry too much about loan programs and things like that. This is something your loan partner can do with you, and they can talk about that stuff, especially if you're new. So these are all the lending stuff, 1031 exchange, blah, blah, blah. Lifestyle. So these are all just random lifestyle posts. So if you're like, I want to post on social media, but I have no idea, here it is. We have 6 pages of that. All sorts of different ideas, everything from Netflix to coffee shops to average rents in your area. You're becoming that community expert, and that's when I built this list. That was my whole goal. So we're all in this together. I'm gonna post too. You can steal my why video. You can steal any of my ideas. Anything I post on social media, fair game. Take it. It's all yours. So that is my social media bucket, if you will. And then
Do you have a,
go ahead.
do you have a calendar of when and what you post? Like Mondays, your lifestyle, Wednesday, your lending? Do you have a schedule or you just wing it?
I just kind of wing it. I just use the ideas on there, and then like whatever I'm feeling that day, that's what I'm gonna post. So sorry for anyone that follows me that's seen baseball for the last 2-3 weeks. It's wrapping up now, so it should be good. But
Hey, all I post is food. So.
hey, people love food, and you know, and again, you're becoming that expert, right? They're like, wow, Beth knows all the restaurants and all of these people. There's some ideas on there too, like interview a local business. And your whole goal with this is to just make people pay attention. And it's amazing to me how many people pay attention, because when you see them after months, they're like, yeah, I saw you went to the Dominican in December. How was that? I'm like, wow, that's creepy. But yes, I did. So just people want to see. People are very nosy and they like seeing what's going on. So the more value you can provide about your community when you post those lending specific things about your team, they're more ingrained and they're more likely to use you because they feel like they already know you, even if you've never met them.
Question?
Yeah.
Do you consider story and like permanent post, both of them?
Yeah. I love my story. I have obviously my close friends who can see everything I'm doing, and then the ones that the public can see. But I think story's great. You can do a story on the day in the life of a business development rep. There's all sorts of things you can do. And for those of you who have never posted on stories is just like a live look of like, here's what I'm doing right this second, or here's what I'm feeling. It goes away in 24 hours, where your post is going to stay more long term. I hook my Instagram up to my Facebook, so anything I post on Instagram is going to automatically share to my Facebook. And then it just takes, again, it's more of an efficiency thing. Kim says, post a picture of the cute coffee shop you go to or even an event you attend. Yep, that's awesome, especially, you know, if you love that coffee shop and you're there quite a bit, then people are going to start associating that with you. I think that's amazing. Love seeing the inside of your house. Yep. Kids. I mean, these are all different things. You guys have a pretty good grasp on social media, but hopefully that list helps you. I cannot believe it. We have 2 minutes left. What questions do you guys have before you go out and crush it this week?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So one of my meetings that I had last week, I told her if she doesn't mind, we took a picture, the realtor and I,
Awesome.
and I want to post it on my social media. But then my LO said, well, what are you going to do? Post every realtor on your social media that you meet? So I kind of like not sure. Is that good? Is that bad? How do you feel about that?
I mean,
I want to, you know what I mean? I don't want, like, if I didn't do for each and every one, I don't want someone to feel left out at the same time. So how do you combat that?
Just do it sparingly and just say, hey,
Yeah.
we had this amazing meeting at XYZ coffee shop. Have you been there? And turn it into a question. I got the latte and, you know, Jake got whatever.
Yeah.
You could do it like that. I don't think agents pay that much attention where they're like, you didn't even post me. They might.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe nothing surprises me anymore, but yeah, I think you'd be okay. Don't overthink it.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Something.
Yeah.
I've had that situation come up, Alaya, where I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Where the agent was like, well, why didn't you post with me? And you know what I said? Let's go have coffee and I'll post with you.
Oh,
so one person
interesting.
who was specifically calling me out, I was like, well, you're a valued partner of mine. Let's go, you know, we'll have a beer and we'll talk about your favorite place. And we went Facebook Live and they loved it, and they've never brought it up since, even though I haven't ever posted with them again. So, like I said, I wouldn't think too much. Don't dwell too deeply on it. Just get your
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Got it. Thank you so much. Thank you, Benjamin.
Sarah?
This is kind of off topic, but I thought about it last week. When you're asking your title partners for the list that you use,
yeah,
what exactly are you asking? Like, is there a specific list that you're saying that you need from them, or?
Yeah, so what I just say is, hey, can you pull a list on MTA? That's what most title companies use, is MTA. I think it's a little more accurate than MMI, even though I have MMI. Just say, can you pull a list for me of anyone in this zip code that has had 8 buy sides or more in the last 12 months? and then they'll pull a list and it'll have all of the agents' contact information. And then I just use that as my list. It comes in an Excel spreadsheet.
So if we had MTA, we could just do it ourselves full time?
Yep.
Okay.
Beth, do you have a question?
Well, and
Yeah.
also not all title reps have access to that, so if you do contact a title rep, probably talk to actually their marketing rep, not like
Yeah.
the processor or closer.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. All right, 9:31 or 12:31. I don't even know what time it is, but go have lunch, go have breakfast. You guys are doing amazing. I'm so proud of all of you, and we will see you next week. I'll send out the email of homework and tools. If you need anything, please email me, post in the Facebook group. You guys have been doing great, and we'll see you guys next week.
Thank you.